Okay, hello everybody. Welcome back to my channel today. I'm Kevin, and today we're back to our first World War topic. So, in our last topic, we're already going through the slaughter event of Ypres. So today we're back with our army and war, connection and information. But today, the history shows us a peace in a whole world. The little peace in just a long time. But this thing happened not because people decide to stop war, but it's because they are trying to find new ways to gain the victories. So, how was it? Let's just go straight into our topic and find out with me. So, commanders on both sides believed that the war of Ypres was short-lived, but they were used to fight in the open, with armies charging at each other across the large battlefields. And now, when there is new weapons as machine guns, bomb, and new guns like the X-rays or every different kind of weapons, make the method and the tactics of attacking or defending become different. And one of those different is the trenches. The trenches, which mean that the hole that you dig all around your place, or all around your border, so that your army could going down the place, the hole that you dig up and hide in that. For example, this is the ground, right? This is the ground, and then you create a place that not so tall. It's not so tall, but it's just having angles like this. So when the soldiers hiding down here, they could climb up to the ground and keep shooting, then they back down to the ground. That's the trenches. Okay, so these trenches was just not a tactics, but now it's become a very useful thing in the First World War. And also there is new weapons that been developed from years of fighting and using it to defend. So very easy and obviously to see that people cannot attack each others on a war by two army side like it before, because they cannot just charge into each other's territory and try to kill as much as possible, because if they do so, they will absolutely be defeated and erased in just few minutes. Okay, so the trenches may have been filthy, uncomfortable, and dangerous place, but they did offer some protection for the troops from the enemy fire. German military engineers took particular care to designing their own style of trenches. Their front lines were a labyrinth of ditches, tunnels, and deep shelter that protect soldiers from explosive shells. They were able quick to lay thick beds of razor sharp barbed by hand, and exploding shell only lift it off by up into the air and then fall back to the earth with a different, let's say, with a messing type, or you could say a messing, I don't know how to say it, but a messing shape. That's right. So I'm talking about the wire, okay? I'm talking about the iron wire, or I don't know how to say it, but it's the steel wire. It means that a string, it's like a line of iron, a line or a string that made of iron, and on every inch of that string is ball. It's the spiky balls that make with the irons, steels, or wire. And those things are the most dangerous thing because they did a lot of damage and also held the soldiers back, which means slowing them down and give the defenders more time to kill. That means the attackers got more difficult than the defenders. So, as I said, the front lines were a labyrinth of ditches, tunnels, and deep shelters that protect soldiers from explosive shells. And they were also, let's say, quick to lay thick pad of razor sharp barbed wire. We call it the barbed wire. And to protect the trenches is also not being destroyed by explosive bomb or anything else. So for both sides, it's impossible to attack to the other side, but it's very easy to defend the enemies when they want to come. So this is the key of the peaceful time in the First World War, because people don't know how to attack the enemies. They cannot figure out the method of doing or creating damage, and that's why both sides scared to attack each others, and that thing turned out that they afraid to make an attack, and that means they just going to hold their border, they hold their lands, and yeah, no one going anywhere like that. So after that, even when the slaughter at Ypres and the development of the trenches with new weapons, many generals were still convinced and think that by shelling enemy positions, then sending waves of attacking soldiers into the territory, they could, yeah, making a blood way, so that they could spot going through their territory, going through the enemy's team, and make their victories become true. So they try to make some plans like making all of their soldiers rushing to the enemy sides, but however, million men would die by just testing the theories, and of course, it's not really true, because in the post-Soviet years, the men tried to test those methods and theories. They figure out one thing, that there's also a problem when soldiers want to connect or communicate with commanders, because yeah, you guys can see commanders is people who usually stand in the back of the war. They stand in trenches, they live in trenches, they live in tents, they camping, they going around, they trying to make plans so that they could win, but they are not really fight. The one who fighting is, yeah, the soldiers, right, or the officer or the leader of the team, and the general rarely go out for war. Okay, so when the officers want to connect or communicate with their teammates, with the troops, with the soldiers, and of course there are also different kind or different style of a small general. They are just going back, trying to make plans so that they could save their own teams, and they could make the victory. Yeah, they could bring the victory. So in the war, on the war time, when troops or when soldiers get out of their trenches and charge to each other, there is a place called no man's land. This place was made when there is a time both sides don't want to attack each other, and that place become the gray zone. But of course, they are not really easy to go through the zone, because of the fear, because of the fearness and the scaries of the attack of the other side. So both sides tries to make bombs, barbed wire, guns, explosive cells all on the ground. And also that ground of the no man's land is also destructed long time ago in the war. So when armies, troops trying to charge through the place, they are usually die, step on bombs, or being defeated by the enemies. And the officers in those times cannot giving them information at a quick time. Why's that? Because officers is people who standing in the pack, right? They don't going to the front line. So when they want to communicate with the soldiers, they have to use something so that we can communicate at the long distance. But of course, at that time we didn't have phone yet, so they have to use sign, have to use light, have to use, let's say different kind of secret sign, or using telephones, old style telephones, by creating by the vibrations of the barbed wire, or you could say by the strings, or by something that having the vibration, everything that can vibrate, bringing the sounds, bringing the sounds of their voice to the other's ears. So it's a little bit hard to explain, but you guys could easily see that we have a small things called kiss telephone. I don't know how to say it, but right, there's like this let's say, okay, there's a cup, one put the cup like this into their mouth, I mean into the ears like this, right? And then there's a string. There's a string will connect to of the place of the cup to the other's cup. And when some people saying into this become like this, like no, 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 yeah, like that. So the vibrations going through the curb bring it into the strings, and the strings bring those vibrations to the people on the other side, and that means people could hear each other. But of course, that theory was made but not successfully used, because on a war there's bomb, there's gun, so everything's going chaos, and sometimes there's some misfired guns going through the earth, and those things bringing the strings, or you could say the iron wires, because yeah, in the war time they usually not using strings or something like that because they cannot vibrate enough. So maybe they could bring up the strings, bring up the connections of the officers and the soldiers, the connection lines, and then some bullets maybe destroy those lines because they cannot, they cannot aim where they are, they are just misfired bullets, right? So with that way it's not effective, and that's why officers in the First World War very struggle to find a way so that they could communicate with their soldiers. And of course, in the first years of the war, with all the difficulties of communication and also about the development of weapons and trenches with the old tactics and yeah, the stupid way of attacking by just charging into the enemy's line, people, soldiers from both sides died a lot. And of course, soldiers were ordered not to run or zigzag as they crossed the no man's land, because generals thought that troops might get confused and panic if they didn't advance in orderly tanks. So, in the orderly ranks, which means people who have the permission to order each other, we call them the orderly ranks. But of course, the general's command was wrong. Why is that? Because you guys can see that gunshot bullet by a straight line, and when you call your soldiers to stand in a line to going through a place of bomb, yes, that is right, you could try to avoid bombs and going safely, but in the case don't have any machine gun pointing to you, and yeah, the generals could say, yeah, you have to stand in a straight line and going through, you will be safe. And not, of course, they just avoiding some bomb place, not all, but yes, after they going through the place, they keep their straight line when going through the no man's land, and when the enemy is seeing them, they just need to aim one gun into that line, and it's going through every soldiers, and that's why there's a lot of people dead, because the generals try to testing their theories, even though there's a lot of points that not making sense. Okay, so that's all I want to say with you guys today about fire, wire, and mud. The time of attacking, defending, and the peaceful time, because people in both sides don't know how to attack each other. And now I think it's time for saying bye then. See you my viewers. Bye bye.